Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing not stars, but thousands of bright streaks racing toward Earth. Every single asteroid in our solar system is heading straight for us. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, today we're going to explore this terrifying scenario and discover what would really happen if every asteroid hit Earth at the same time. But don't worry, this is just a thought experiment. The chances of this actually happening? Zero. But the science? Absolutely fascinating. First, let's talk about what we're dealing with. Our solar system is packed with asteroids. We're talking about over 1 million space rocks that we know about, and probably millions more we haven't discovered yet. Most asteroids hang out in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Think of it as a cosmic highway filled with rocky travelers. These rocks range from tiny pebbles, the size of your fist, to massive mountains floating in space. The biggest asteroid is called Ceres. It's so large, about 590 miles across, that scientists actually call it a dwarf planet. That's roughly the distance from New York to Detroit. Then you've got Vesta and Pallas, each hundreds of miles wide. But here's the thing, most asteroids are actually pretty small. We're talking about rocks the size of cars, houses, or school buses. Still dangerous? Absolutely, but not planet destroyers on their own. Now, if we somehow gathered every single one of these space rocks and sent them crashing into Earth all at once, we'd be looking at a combined mass of about 3% of our moon. That might not sound like much, but trust me, it's enough to ruin everyone's day, forever. So what happens the moment all these asteroids enter our atmosphere? Picture this, the sky turns bright orange, then red, then white hot. It's not sunrise. It's thousands of asteroids burning through the atmosphere at speeds up to 40,000 miles per hour. That's 50 times faster than a bullet. The smaller asteroids would burn up completely, creating the most spectacular light show in Earth's history. But it's not pretty, it's deadly. This light would be so intense it could cause blindness if you look directly at it. The heat would be so extreme that forests would spontaneously catch fire before the asteroids even hit the ground. The medium-sized asteroids would explode in the atmosphere, creating shock waves that shatter windows and flatten buildings hundreds of miles away. Remember the Chelyabinsk meteor in Russia back in 2013? That was just one small asteroid, and it broke windows across an entire city and injured over 1,500 people. Now multiply that by thousands. The biggest asteroids, the real monsters, would punch straight through our atmosphere like it's not even there. When they hit the ground, each impact would release energy equivalent to millions or even billions of nuclear bombs. Let's talk about what happens when a giant asteroid actually strikes Earth. When Ceres, our biggest asteroid, slams into the planet, it creates an impact crater over 600 miles wide. That's big enough to swallow entire countries. The impact instantly vaporizes everything within hundreds of miles. Rock, water, buildings, forests, everything just turns into superheated gas. But the crater is just the beginning. The impact creates an earthquake that makes every earthquake in recorded history look like a gentle vibration. We're talking about a magnitude 11 or 12 earthquake, something that's literally off our current scale. This earthquake ripples around the entire planet, triggering every fault line on Earth. Volcanoes that have been quiet for thousands of years suddenly erupt. New volcanoes form in places that have never had them before. The Earth's crust literally cracks open. If any of these large asteroids hit the ocean, they create mega-tsunamis, waves over a mile high that race across the ocean at jet plane speeds. These waves wouldn't just hit coastal cities, they'd travel dozens of miles inland, drowning entire regions. And remember, this isn't just one asteroid, this is thousands hitting everywhere at once. The entire surface of Earth is being bombarded simultaneously. Now, if somehow you survived the initial impacts, maybe you were in a deep underground bunker, you'd face an even bigger problem: asteroid winter. All those impacts kick up an unimaginable amount of dust, rock, and debris into the atmosphere. We're talking about trillions of tons of material being blasted into the sky. This creates a thick blanket that completely blocks out the sun. The world goes dark, not dim, completely dark, like someone turned off the sun. Without sunlight, temperatures plummet. Within weeks, the temperature drops below freezing everywhere on Earth, even at the equator. Within months, we're looking at temperatures of minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. The oceans start to freeze over. Plants die because they can't photosynthesize without sunlight. When plants die, herbivores starve. When herbivores die, carnivores starve. The entire food chain collapses from the bottom up. This darkness could last for years, maybe even decades. It depends on how much dust is in the atmosphere and how long it takes to settle. This is similar to what killed the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, but that was just one asteroid. We're talking about every asteroid. The effects would be thousands of times worse. Here's where things get even more extreme. The impacts would actually change Earth's rotation. Think about it. Trillions of tons of rock suddenly hitting one side of the planet with incredible force. This could make our days longer or shorter. It might even tilt Earth's axis, changing our seasons forever, if anyone was around to experience them. The impacts would also heat up the entire planet. I know we just talked about asteroid winter making things cold, but bear with me. The energy from all these impacts would be so enormous that it would literally melt the Earth's surface. We're talking about turning solid rock into liquid lava. The entire planet would become a ball of molten rock, like it was when it first formed 4.5 billion years ago. The atmosphere itself would change completely. All that heat would boil away the oceans, turning them into steam. The air would become toxic with sulfur, carbon dioxide, and other gases released from the vaporized rock. Even if the temperature somehow became survivable, you couldn't breathe the air. Now let's talk about something really mind-blowing. Would this actually destroy Earth itself? The answer is no. Earth, the planet, would survive. But Earth as we know it, with its oceans, atmosphere, and life, would be completely erased. It would take millions of years for the planet to cool down, for a new atmosphere to form, and for the surface to become solid again. Could anything survive this? The honest answer is probably not. Even the toughest creatures on Earth, like tardigrades, those tiny water bears that can survive in space, would likely die. There would simply be nowhere to hide from this level of destruction. Every corner of the planet would be affected. But here's something fascinating. Earth has actually been through something similar before, just after it formed. Scientists believe a Mars-sized object crashed into early Earth, and that impact was so powerful it created our moon. Earth recovered from that, and life eventually appeared. So even after total destruction, given enough time, a planet can heal and start over. So what have we learned from this thought experiment? First, we're incredibly lucky that asteroids don't work together. They're scattered across millions of miles of space, minding their own business. Second, even one large asteroid could cause massive problems, which is why scientists carefully track them and work on ways to deflect any that might threaten us. The good news, NASA and other space agencies are constantly watching the sky. They've found about 95% of the really big asteroids near Earth, and none of them are heading our way anytime soon. We even successfully tested a planetary defense system in 2022, when NASA crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid and changed its orbit. We're not helpless. In the end, imagining every asteroid hitting Earth at once shows us just how powerful and violent the universe can be. But it also reminds us how precious and rare our planet is. We're living on a tiny blue marble in the vastness of space, protected by a thin atmosphere and lucky enough to orbit in a relatively clear neighborhood. Earth has given us the perfect conditions for life, and scenarios like this remind us why we should take care of it. So the next time you see a shooting star, don't worry. It's just a tiny piece of space dust burning up safely in our atmosphere, putting on a beautiful show. Our planet has been protecting us from cosmic threats for billions of years, and with science and technology on our side, we'll keep it that way for billions more.